One of the judges involved in that actually was heavily involved in the Richstar case. Now, the Richstar case is out of WA. It's going back a few years now. It's almost 10 years ago. It was the case or the decision that appeared to potentially open up the floodgates in terms of how trusts would be considered from a family law perspective, and potentially run the risk that the assets inside a trust would in the same way as they are under a family law case, potentially be exposed in bankruptcy. Now, the Richstar decision was driven by an ASIC case. Effectively, there was a freezing order put across all of the assets of the trust. The argument being that because there was such a high level of control available to the person that had gone bankrupt because they were the appointor/principal, they owned all the shares in the trustee, director of the corporate trustee, that historically received distributions to themselves personally, that was enough for the court to say, well, look, really, the trust here is just a shell. It actually is just a brilliant disguise for what's actually going on. Now, at risk of needing to default to that as a solution, why are we still talking about Richstar when it is almost 10 years old and it's the only case of its kind? Because I can actually, and I think it's in your material, that there'd be another 3 or 4 or 5 cases after Richstar that says, look, no, that's just not the case. You can't take the family law principles and put them into the Bankruptcy Act. They're completely different regimes and it's just not appropriate. The reason we're still touching on it is this. Richstar was a decision of a sole judge in WA. That sole judge is now the Chief Justice of the High Court. So as much as there's a number of cases, particularly in New South Wales, that say Richstar is bad law and something to ignore, there's still that heritage or residual issue that at the end of the day, the High Court, the Chief Justice of the High Court gave that decision, and there is a risk that we might revisit that in another context at some point in the future. So in all of these discussions, you must have a Richstar style line item on your checklist.